Hey, what is up, you guys? It's me, Sam N0VA198 again, and today I am back again with another film review for the Nova Film Review series. And today, I just watched the 7th installment. I still can't believe there's 7 of these movies now. And that is for Jurassic World Rebirth, which is the 7th film in the franchise and stars Jonathan Bailey, Scarlett Johansson, and Mahershala Ali, and was directed by Gareth Edwards, who directed the 2014 Godzilla, Star Wars Rogue One, the creator, and he directed a little film called Monster that came out in 2010 or 11. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, this is now the 7th Jurassic Park movie and is sort of a reboot, I think, of the franchise. But yeah, now I'm gonna be real. I was not really excited for this movie at all. I will say this: Jurassic Park 1, the first one, is one of my favorite movies of all time. I watched this a ton when I was young. It was one of my favorite movies as a kid. But the other films in this franchise have either ranged from, that was pretty fun, it was pretty good, to, good lord, what the hell were you thinking? And I love the original. Jurassic Park 2 is pretty good. I'd say that's the best sequel. 3 is a fun, schlocky popcorn movie. The first Jurassic World was okay. Fallen Kingdom I thought sucked. I thought it wasn't as bad as when I first watched it, but as time went on, it just kept getting worse in my mind. And then Jurassic World Dominion is hands down one of the worst movies of the 2020s for me. That movie is so bad. I've never wanted to walk out of the theater more than I did with Dominion. And to be quite honest, I was not really that hyped for Jurassic World Rebirth, because I just thought all the trailers I watched were pretty just mid. They were very, very dull and not really that interesting. The idea I thought sounded cool, but I was worried it was going to go down the hybrid route, which I was fine with one movie being about hybrids, but why did Jurassic Park have to keep going with the hybrid aspect? I have no idea. But anyways, here's the big question. Did I like this movie? And would I recommend seeing it? Let's talk about the story. Okay, so now the story for Jurassic World Rebirth takes place a couple of years after the events of after Dominion, and with all the dinosaurs running around the Earth and basically being back, has caused some problems. For one thing, almost none of the dinosaurs are surviving. A lot of them are dying off due to the conditions of the world, because a lot has changed in the over 65 million years since the dinosaurs were wiped out. So basically the dinosaurs are all dying off due to climate and just other conditions that they're not used to. So this leads to Zora, played by Scarlett Johansson, being led by a wealthy sort of billionaire who is setting up a team to go to a research facility on an island for the original Jurassic Park. And while they're on this island, they have to get basically different DNA samples from several different dinosaurs, like the Quetzalcoatlus and the T-Rex, I believe the Mosasaurus as well, along with a Stegosaurus. And the whole goal of the film is for them to try to basically get different DNA samples. Along the way, they're teamed up with a mercenary named Duncan, played by Mahershala Ali, and Dr. Henry Loomis, who's sort of a scientist and sort of like dinosaur, expert, I guess. And on the island, they soon discovered that there were other forms of dinosaurs that they were making that were basically mutations and sort of hybrids, though they're not really hybrids, they're more mutations they were working on. And now they have to, but then they meet up with another family, like a family of 4, because they got stranded in the ocean. And they basically go to this island, and they have to just go on this journey and get the DNA samples and try to survive and avoid some really nasty looking dinosaurs, including a huge D-Rex dinosaur called the D-Rex. It's like a mutation, and I'm going to talk about that and my problems later with the movie, because I do have my issues with this movie. But that's basically the story for Jurassic World. To be quite honest, it's a pretty basic and very generic story. It's nothing special. None of the characters are really that interesting. Like, they try to set up Duncan and Zora's characters, Mahershala Ali and Scarlett Johansson's characters, but I didn't really connect with them at all. I just thought they were like, they were just kind of there. Dr. Henry Loomis, Jonathan Bailey's character, he was okay. I felt like he was the one person that I guess had some sort of care in the movie. But I'm not saying Scarlett Johansson and Marshall Ali didn't care. They were great. They were pretty good in the movie, but the story itself is just very generic. You know exactly where it's gonna go, and the whole thing just kind of feels like one big filler movie. I don't know if they're gonna do a sequel to this, but it just kind of did. The movie didn't really end off on like a big sequel note, honestly. But it just felt like just kind of a one and done thing, and didn't really amount to anything. So the story was kind of just mediocre and pretty mid, to be quite honest. And I feel like that word's really horribly misused, but that's really the story. It was just a middling adventure. There were some cool dinosaur stuff, better than Dominion, but that's not saying much. So, yeah, I don't know why my brain blanked there. Now let's move on to the acting. Okay, so now in terms of acting, I thought the acting was just fine. I didn't think anybody did a terrible job. I remember there was this one scene in the trailer where Scarlett Johansson screamed Duncan's name, and she was like, Duncan! It was just like, that whole thing was just very... The way she delivered it, it was so bad in the trailer. In this one, it's not as bad, but it still was kind of distracting a little bit. But almost all the acting was pretty serviceable. It wasn't really that special. There was no actor that really stood out in the movie. Even the main villain of the film was just kind of just there. He was a very predictable villain. And the acting, for the most part, was pretty alright. And there's really not much to say about the acting. But now, let's get into my problems with this movie. So, let's get into the main issues. Okay, now I'm going to be opening up about my problems with this movie. And just overall, my overall feelings towards this movie. And sort of this franchise as a whole. So, now... I would say at the, maybe, I don't know, like, not halfway point of the movie, they introduced, like, a whole group of other characters, like this family, and they're not exactly bad characters, but it just kind of felt like there was just this whole, like, I guess, subplot they wanted to add, like, with the family and everything. And for the most part in the movie, they're both two separate adventures, because they join up for a little bit, and then they get separated later on in the film. It was very bizarre. Like, it's like, basically what happens is this family, they're on a boating trip, they get attacked by the Mosasaurus, their boat gets knocked down and sink, so the crew, Duncan, Henry, and Zora have to go save them. They get saved, but the problem is they get separated right after, so I'm like, so why did you have them there to begin with? And, like, that's kind of my thing with this movie. There's a lot of things I just felt like that were really copied from other movies. It just feels like they tried to reboot the franchise, kind of like they did with Alien Romulus last year. It just was a very strange situation to do. And for the most part with the dinosaur stuff, it's passable. There's a couple of good moments. There's this one moment I really liked that happens later in the film. It's in the trailer, but there's like a river chase scene with the T-Rex. I think that was from something from the book. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll read it, but if it wasn't something like that was in the book, let me know in the comments. But there was a cool little river boat scene I thought was pretty cool, but other than that, it was a pretty basic dinosaur stuff. And I will say, one of the biggest things they were promoting with this movie was the D-Rex. This new mutation of a T-Rex. It's like 5 times the size of a normal T-Rex. Like, it has like 4 arms. Like it's like it has little arms like this, and then big arms like this. It was a very weird design. I was like, this feels like something they would have had for the first Jurassic World. And it just kind of felt like, like the D-Rex, like, he shows up for like, in the first 10 minutes, like, the movie began exactly as I thought it was going to, which, that's another thing. This movie is extremely predictable, and there's not too much of a body count in this movie. Even, I guess, Dominion had somewhat of more of a body count than this, but it was a very basic and safe movie. Like, that's my biggest problem with this movie. It's way too safe, and it's too afraid to take any risks. Now, I'm not saying, like, you have to be super dark and kill people, but or you have to be rated R, but can we just have a Jurassic Park movie that's just more horror? Like the book? Like, I've heard the book is far scarier than the movies are. I mean, the first Jurassic Park did have some pretty intense moments, like the car attack scene in the first Jurassic Park. That scene was pretty scary when you watch it as a kid. It's still very suspenseful. This one, there's no real moment that I was like, oh man, it's so scary. Oh man, this is terrifying. It's like, it was pretty much exactly what I thought it was going to be. there's really nothing special about this movie, and that's my biggest problem. It does nothing to reinvent the wheel, and the way it ends is just so abruptly. I'm like, that's it? There's no conclusion? This felt like the Jurassic Park 3 of Jurassic World movies. And while I will say one thing, it is an improvement over the last Jurassic Park movie, but I'll go continue that with my final verdict. Don't really want to continue talking about this movie, to be quite honest. But yeah, the movie is just very predictable. It's not that interesting, and above all else, it's just kind of dull. It's not the worst film I've ever seen, but it's not great either. Anyways, let's move on to the final verdict and my final thoughts. So, yeah. So, here are my final thoughts of Jurassic World Rebirth. So, for one thing about Jurassic World Rebirth, here's the big thing. Is it better than Jurassic World Dominion? Yeah, it is. But that's not really saying much. That's like saying a smack to the face is better than a punch to the stomach. It's nothing really special. It's better than Fallen Kingdom and Dominion, but that's not really saying much. It's like, honestly, my biggest thing with this movie is that it is one of the most safe and formulaic blockbusters I've seen in a while. And I know people will say, oh, Sam, it's a blockbuster, you don't have to take risks. Look at movies like F1 and Top Gun Maverick. Those movies are great. F1 I'm going to review after this. That movie's awesome. But Jurassic World Rebirth just feels like an excuse to make a little more money. And from what I've heard, this movie has been making money, but it's lagging behind the others. So I think dinosaur fatigue is really setting in for the Jurassic Park franchise. Because honestly, I don't really get why they decided to... I know why they made another Jurassic Park, but honestly, I don't think this franchise needs to keep going anymore. There's nothing special about it. It does nothing to really change the franchise. The D-Rex is cool for like the 5 minutes it's in, but for the most part, this is a very basic movie. There's nothing remarkable or really that special about it, and I think that's what really sucks about Jurassic World Rebirth. Now, here are my final thoughts. Would I recommend going to see this movie? You know, I'm not going to say screw this movie, because it's not the worst thing ever like Dominion was, or other movies this decade like Borderlands or Exorcist Believer or even the new Space Jam. But it's just a very generic and forgettable movie. If you really want to watch it, wait till it comes out into streaming. But for everybody else, I'm just going to say skip it, because while this isn't the worst movie I've seen all year, it's not something I'm ever going to go back and watch again. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Jurassic World Rebirth. Thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know in the comments what you thought about Jurassic World Rebirth. Hope you enjoyed it, and goodbye. Okay, I almost forgot to bring up this one point. I did run into some people today that I sat with in the movie. I didn't really know them, but if you guys are watching this video, it was nice meeting you guys today. And I hope you guys enjoyed the movie more than I did. So, anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Make sure you like this video and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time.